listening to The Still Small Voice. I'm Jennifer, your host, the Still Small Voice Whisperer. Thank you for joining me today. I am hoping this podcast gets you thinking, intuiting, listening, and maybe even acting on your still small voice. I'm a little different. I feel I should tell you this up front. I spend a lot of time in silence and solitude because I cannot be myself without it. I do what I do without necessarily checking in with others and the world around me. This makes me a seemingly socially awkward and antisocial person. However, I just don't abide by doing things because everyone else is doing it or because that's what you're supposed to do. So with that in mind, I want to let you know that these podcast episodes are going to be a bit different. You don't need to listen to me talk. You don't need more information from a guest interview, or any more information at all, actually, from anyone. Except for you. You need your information, and you need to hear from you. So this is what we're going to do. You are the guest this season. I'm going to interview you. In each episode, I'm going to ask you questions, and I'll give you about 3 minutes for the answers. I invite you to speak out the answers just like you're the guest. Or maybe you need to answer them in your mind instead of out loud if you're listening to this at work or in a public place, or not. You do you. Here's your opportunity to listen to the most intelligent, loving, and authoritative person in your own life. Others know things and can teach you, but at the end of the day, it really is all about you. It's about what you think and believe that really, really matters. We can spend too much time listening to others and not to ourselves. All right, let's get started. Welcome to Listening to the Still Small Voice. I'm so excited to be interviewing you. Thank you for being on the podcast today. You have decades of experience in work, education, relationships, and overall life experience. I am so excited to hear from you today and about how you are in the world. In this season, we've talked about waving the magic wand in your life, in your relationships, in your work and vocation. In this episode, we're going to move quite literally closer to home, talking about our home and our surroundings. I want to thank you for continuing to come back and giving us the answers that we really need to hear. You know, it is so common to hear podcasts and interviews, and it all sounds so flawless and easy. We know, though, that it takes courage and strength to show up and be honest with yourself and others. I want to start out today with a question about your home. And it's pretty obvious. What is your home? What are your surroundings like? Like, is it a house? Is it an apartment? Are you a modern person, a romantic person, I kind of forget about it till I pay attention to a person? That's me. This could include like your furniture, your favorite maybe pieces of art, or your favorite kind of collectibles or things that you've acquired along your way. Is it the way you organize? Is it pets? Is it the people you have in your house? Is it what you do in your house? So just broad strokes of what your home looks like. Thank you for sharing that. Say, could you answer that same question now? Again, you know what we've been all about this season. From waving that magic wand of your still small voice, what would your home look like? What would it sound like? What would it feel? What would it contain if that magic wand was waved and the still small voice ran the show? You know, there are always inklings of what the still small voice calls us to, even in our current circumstances, no matter what they are. Where do you see the commonalities between like the two visions, the one that you explained to us earlier as your current situation, and then the one you just explained about like if you waved the magic wand? Is there something like you're working toward in your home? Is it something that you may not have noticed until you were talking about it? I'm just curious. So for some people, their home is their fortress and their rock. And for others, it's a landing pad, kind of a place to check in, maybe swap out the items they need to go back out into the world. I'm just curious, does how you look at your home maybe change the way you think about it? You know, you've explained it to us, and I just am curious, you know, do you see it the same as maybe your friends and family, or maybe you don't, and that's very obvious, or even kind of, you know, what society's saying out there, and society, gosh, says everything in the world and then some. So I'm just curious, like how you see it, maybe in relation to kind of somebody else who maybe you're close friends with, or your family kind of sees it differently. You know, living with people usually helps highlight how different you are than them. So I'm just curious if that has happened to you, and you kind of know what you like it to be versus somebody else. You know, being at home can be one of the most nurturing things, and then sometimes it can be one of the most challenging and stressful things, as we're all very well aware. I want to end this episode on a possibly positive, hopefully positive and possible note. Out of everything you mentioned, what would that still small voice magic wand change first? Like, would it be a piece of furniture? Would it be the way you use the space? Would it be what you do at home? You know, anything. Let me know. Thank you so much for taking the time today to come on the show and sharing more about your experiences. I know our audience finds them invaluable. I'd like to have you back on the show to learn more if you'd be willing. I know our listener needs to hear from you more than ever. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you next week. So what did you think? Weird? Fun? A little bit of both? There's more where that came from. Come back next week and we will learn more. Thanks for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, I'm so glad. If you didn't, that's great too. Thanks for giving it a try. You can do all the things: subscribe, rate, review, emoji it up if you feel so called. I appreciate any feedback you have. Please reach out to me on Facebook at The Still Small Voice Whisperer.